That's true. It was not messy for Russell Westbrook. He's home. You see that? He's home officially. It's been a bit of a circuitous route for the Long Beach native, right? Went to UCLA, drafted by Oklahoma City, teamed up with KD for 8 of his 11 seasons, helped the Thunder to the 2012 NBA Finals, and left town as the franchise's all-time leading scorer. Then Westbrook gets traded to Houston, where he's reunited with his former Thunder teammate, James Harden. He would average over 27 a game there, but the Rockets were eliminated by the Lakers in the second round of the playoffs. So what happens? Well, Westbrook on the move again. Traded to Washington prior to last season, the 9-time All-NBA selection, averaged a triple-double, helped the Wiz to their first playoff berth in 3 seasons, and now, look where he is. Westbrook may have his best shot yet at taking a title as he joins LeBron, AD, Carmelo, and the Lakers. You're talking about name recognition. Wow. Put him on the marquee. He becomes the 3rd former MVP to start 4 straight seasons with a different team, the first to be traded in 3 straight seasons. Here's what he had to say today.
First, man, it's surreal. I think it still hasn't kind of hit me yet that being from LA, growing up not too far from here, being able to watch the parades, try to go to a missed school to try to go to them, being a Laker fan and being from LA, but now everything coming full circle for me is it's a blessing. You know, it's a lot of things I can't put into actual words just because, you know, some of these dreams don't come true for people like myself. And I'm truly blessed and thankful for this opportunity, and, you know, I can't wait to get started. I've been blessed to be able to go into my 14th season, and each year I try to find ways, like Rob mentioned, to be able to uplift and make my teammates better around me. And AD and Bron are friends of mine first, and me being their teammate, my job is to come in and uplift them, and they'll do the same with me, vice versa. And as the season prolongs, we will figure it out. There will be ups, there will be downs, and that's normal. That's okay. But we will figure out how to play the best way that we want to play to be able to win a championship.
The Lakers have been in full retool mode in pursuit of said championship. They, of course, were bounced in the first round of the playoffs. They now have 5 players that have 8 or more All-Star selections. According to Elias, no team in NBA history has had 5 8-time All-Stars appear for them in a single season. The only person busier maybe than Rob Pelinka in the Lakers front office is Dave McMenamin, because he went straight from the playoffs and now he's covering Summer League for us as well and covering the Lakers as always. You were there, you listened, Dave. What stood out to you from Westbrook's first public comments officially as a Laker?
Well, when we're talking about name recognition type of people, Al Duncan, I'm glad to be talking to you, but the name of the day in LA was Russell Westbrook, and certainly he grew up just 15 miles south of downtown. He said he would skip school sometimes, go to Laker championship parades, and you can talk about the on-court stuff. That's dynamic. That's going to be interesting to see how him, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis share the ball, but it's all the off-court stuff that stood out to me. The fact that he had such a deep tie to Kobe Bryant, and Kobe Bryant felt like he was one of the few guys in the league that shared the same type of competitive spirit that he did. The fact that the first time he ever played in the postseason was against the Lakers. The fact that when he had that 20-20-20 game in honor of Nipsey Hussle, that was against the Lakers. And he told me 3 or 4 years ago it would have been a pipe dream to consider slipping on the purple and gold. Now it's a reality. He had his dad, a big-time Lakers fan, at Staples Center today for the introductory press conference, and it's a big moment for him because he's coming home.
And he's going to recognize that first home game when he gets called 100 times for tickets. Like, you got us? We good? So you talked about the on-court stuff. That's really up to Frank Vogel, right? Like Lakers head coach. I know he was also part of that press conference. How's he going to integrate Westbrook into this roster?
Frank says there's going to be a change in style next season. He wants to be a fast break. He said the good thing is that Russ, LeBron, AD are all make the right type of players, and certainly that means they're not just going to be about their numbers on the scoring end of the basketball court. It's going to be finding the open man. He says all 3 of those guys can play off the ball. Now, Russell Westbrook's 3-point percentage could suggest that he'll need some work in playing off the ball, especially with the looks that LeBron James can create for his teammates. But Rob Pelinka said a top priority this offseason was to add a playmaker. And Russell Westbrook said it is his responsibility to take some of the load off of LeBron James next season, because as much as we want to talk about this collection of talent, we can't forget year 19 for LeBron James next year. He turns 37 years old in December. It's going to be nice to have a 32-year-old running mate in Russell Westbrook. to do some of that work out there over the 82-game season.
I love that. It's like you're 36. At least you've got a young sprite 32-year-old who's been in the league for like 13 years as well, right there at your side. Dave McMenamin, we're going to actually see Dave. He's part of the Clippers-Blazers broadcast.
It's happened.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't left my head. It's things that we've talked about, me and him, just the potential of me being able to be a Laker and understanding what that entails. It's just crazy to think about, and that will be with me every time I put that Laker jersey on. That's all I can say about that.
Okay, we're going to get a few questions on Zoom.
Okay, we're going to start off with Mike Bell.
Hey, Russ, welcome to Los Angeles. Just to follow up on Kobe, there was that time during his last year he came to Oklahoma City, and you and KD had some time with him in the locker room and kind of exchanged gifts. And just wondered, the whole mentality he used to talk about when he thought about you was something that Bob alluded to, that constant competitive fire. Was that the thing that you related to most with, or did it just come from competition all the time that you spent playing against him and so on and talking to him?
I think that was initial thing that kind of brought us together, is being able to compete and not be able to take nights off. But we began to have a better relationship off the floor as brothers and talking about other things outside of basketball and things that we've been able to do with this game. And to me, that is the most important thing that I'm ever able to cherish from Kobe, that I will continue to cherish and live on.
Just an anecdote to that. I remember, I still have his voice in my head, but the year that Russell broke a record that no one thought would ever be broken in terms of averaging a triple-double and putting himself in the category of players like the Big O. There were a small handful of players around the NBA that Kobe really felt like embodied that sort of Mamba mentality. And I remember throughout that year just his praise for Russell's approach, and him talking about that competitive edge that is rare in sports, across all sports, and that I could just hear him say he gets it, like he's got it.
Okay, our next question will be from Dave McMenamin, ESPN.
Hi, fellas. Coming to you from Vegas. Start with Ross, and I have a question for Rob as well. Russ, you've had so many moments in your career, whether it be that first round series against the Lakers, obviously the relationship with Kobe playing the Lakers in the bubble in the playoffs, that Nipsey Hussle tribute game. Melo spoke to us about how just the Lakers, even never played for them, always seemed to be on his radar to some extent. I wondered if you could speak to that. Did you share a type of sentiment like that, where you felt like the Lakers were kind of circling your career?
At some point. Obviously, being from LA, you always wish that you can play for your home team and being able to do that. But that's definitely something that always kind of circled around in my mind. Maybe one day, but I always will come back and be like, that probably won't happen. But, I just kind of wait to see if that ever happened. But now we're here, and I'm going to take full advantage of it.
And for Rob, last season, the team certainly was decimated by injuries, and that could have been the direction that you kind of came to a conclusion on, that, hey, if we had health, we can run it back. What motivated you to make such dramatic changes this offseason?
Opportunity. I think it was an opportunity to make an aggressive move that we felt like bettered our probability to bring the 18th title to the Los Angeles Lakers. And when an opportunity like that comes, you're thoughtful, you analyze it, you look at the pros and cons, and then you make a decision. That's what leaders are tasked to do. We felt like this was an opportunity to maximize our ability to do what we're obsessed to do, and that's to bring an 18th title to this city.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Vicky, please.
Okay, we're going to go back to you guys there.
You want to go ahead? Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Russell, you've always been so adamant about how Challengers and Boys and Girls Club developed who you were as a young man. Now you get to come home and be the role model for the young boys and girls who were once where you, or who are where you once were. What does that mean to you?
That is kind of the most important thing about being back home, being able to inspire and impact people, especially our youth in our communities, and especially underserved communities, especially in the city of LA, kind of where I grew up at. And my focus will be out into the community, like it's always been. And I will continue to find ways to uplift our communities, as much as I can.
Hey, Russ. You have so many titles to be proud of. What do you think is the biggest thing you have to offer to the Lakers? And then just for fun, what are you most looking forward to off the court about being back home?